So I went to do my monthly start on my Coleman Powermate PM2000i inverter generator. Wouldn't start, and that's unexpected. This has been a very reliable generator. So I pulled and pulled and pulled on it and thought maybe because I ran out of gas the last time that it was hard to start, but I checked the spark and there was no spark. And what I found was the fuel valve also shuts off the fuel, but it also shuts the engine off. Right there is a switch, and it hooks, when you turn the knob, it actually has a lever there and it actuates the lever. Here's the wires. It's the orange and black wire, and they go right here. But when you turn the fuel knob, which connects to right here, it turns the gas on and off, and it also turns the ignition off and on for the generator. So what was happening was the contacts were staying closed, and when they're closed, there's no possible way for it to spark. So how I tested it was I took all these bolts, screws, and then there's 3 bolts down here. I took them all out, and you gotta loosen the front panel and loosen the exhaust panel, and this just pulls down. So you undo this connector here. And if you see there, there's a orange and a black wire. The top 2 connectors there. And what I did was ohm it out, and when I turned the switch off and on, it remained closed, and all of a sudden I heard the switch click. So it was, the contacts were stuck closed somehow, and by exercising the switch back and forth, it started working. But so to make this generator reliable, I'm gonna have to replace that switch. And that switch is these wires right here, and it's behind this plate here. But what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna take these wires right here, and I'm gonna drill a hole here and put a toggle switch for off and on. And that way I can turn the fuel valve off and let the generator totally run out of fuel, so I don't have to, that way I can run it out of fuel without worrying about fuel staying in the carburetor, because it has a drain bolt right here on the carburetor. But then you gotta take this cover off. So that's the other option. But I think putting a separate toggle switch on is what I'm gonna do, and I'll show you that here in a little bit. And the fuel valve knob is right here, and there's off, run, and choke. So just to show you how I ohmed out the switch, go ahead and put 1 test lead on the black wire and then 1 on the orange wire, and we have continuity. Let me get the knob. So I've got the knob here. I'm going to go ahead and just stick it in here. Put it in the run position, and now in the run position there should be no continuity. That means you won't hear any beeping, and no continuity. Turn the switch back on. And we got continuity. So the switch is in the off position actually. In the off position you have continuity, in the run and choke position, no continuity, no beeping on your meter. And I have it in the ohms position. So that's how you test your switch to make sure your switch is working. If you still don't have any spark, well, then you got to test the coil here. And you have to test it for ohms. So I've added this toggle switch right here. It fit just between the breaker and the electrical outlet. But what this does is this turns the ignition off and on. So up is on position. This is the off. So we gotta go there to choke it. Fuel vent cap is on. Running generator. Now if we want to, we can go like that, and then after about a minute it'll run out of gas, and that way you burn the gas, most of the gas out of the carburetor. But that fixed my no spark problem. I could have either replaced the switch that runs against this right here to turn the ignition off, or add a toggle switch as the kill switch. With the economy mode turned off, it revs up, or for economy it'll slow down to where it only runs as fast as it needs to save on fuel. There's my fixes to add this toggle switch right here. I just got to make a label here to say off. It's going to run a little rough because I'm running the fuel out of the gas tank right now. Also, Generac makes an identical unit to this. In fact, I heard that Generac actually made this for Coleman. So you could do the same modification to it. And probably most of the inverter generators. I also used a marine grade toggle switch that's rated for 15 amps. And I soldered the wires to the switch. Okay, so we're running out of gas right now. Very nice and quiet generator. See how that shuts it down. And there you go. That's how I fixed my no spark problem on the Coleman Powermate. They call it a 2000. They call it a 2000, but it's really only 1600 rated watts. It will surge up to 2000 momentarily. Thanks for watching, and please give me a thumbs up if you've liked the video, and subscribe to my channel.